Hello and welcome to the third of 3 expert classes on embodying wealth, designed to empower you and transform your relationship with money. And today's topic is Uncolonizing Money and Reimagining Wealth. And the series of masterclasses or expert classes correlate with my new offer, which is a 3-month one-on-one container for spiritual entrepreneurs wanting to really walk through the threshold into their next level of wealth embodiment, to really prepare themselves to receive what they want to create in their business. And what's included in this 3-month offer are 6 somatic one-on-one calls where we really work with the body and the nervous system to dismantle some of the stories that you're holding using my 5 pillars to nervous system capacitation and resilience. You also get a free 90-minute financial needs analysis where we really get clear on your numbers and really start putting numbers behind your goals and dreams. And you also get a free 90-minute comprehensive strategy where I basically offer recommendations and a roadmap to get to some of those goals and dreams that you have based on your financial needs analysis. And then, of course, you also get my mini course Flex, which you can download for free off of my website, but you get it as part of this package. It's really there to support you beyond the time that we work together. So the investment for that is $1,800 paying full, or $600 a month for 3 months, or you can even pay an extended payment plan of $300 a month for 6 months. So getting right into it, your relationship to money is incredibly nuanced, and it is as unique as your own energy blueprint, right? We all have our unique pathway or journey in having a better relationship with money and really taking ownership of our money and earning money and making money doing the things that we love to do. There are no quick fixes, no formulas, no magic pills. As much as we are desperate to receive something like that, that's not how it rolls. Your relationship with money develops over a lifetime and is really part of your spiritual learning. And there are people, who claim oh, the energy of money is so easy. And, just as some people claim that, embodying love is easy, but, I don't disagree that those things are true. However easy it is to love, however simple the concept is to understand intellectually, philosophically, in practice, it's something that you have to come back to again and again. Love is a state of being you are born embodying effortlessly, and over the course of our lifetime, or maybe the genetic or transgenerational load we come in with disconnects us, or experiences with trauma disconnects us, right? Inside this matrix soup we grow up in. And then we spend the rest of our lives trying to remember our essence, remember our truth, and come back to love. Marianne Williamson wrote the book Return to Love, where we're having to return and return and return over and over again, right? And in the same way that it takes a lifetime, perhaps, to unwind abuse and trauma in your family of origin, transforming your relationship with money is also a layered healing journey that opens you to more awareness and choice, which is where your sovereign power actually lies. And I know that for me, deepening my relational intimacy with money, feeling safe with money and developing trust with money, is what has really shown the light of awareness on where I have been blocking myself, where I have been contracted, pulled back, afraid, and where I can now choose a different thought. I can choose a different behavior. I can align myself with a different value or an experience or an energy. And it's really been the game changer in capacitating my system, right? My being to receive, hold, and manage greater amounts of wealth. And I mean that broadly defined. And that's what I want to get into first, right? How do I define wealth and all the different kinds of wealth that exist? Because in our survival-based, money-obsessed culture, when we think about manifestation or when we think about wealth, the first thing we think about is money. The first we think about is stacking bills, and that's fair, right? We all get to we all have the birthright to make money doing the things that we love, right? Nobody is undeserving. And I want you to think about, in contrast to our money obsession, I want you to think about this. When you receive a service, right, you pay money for that service. And our entire economy is based on service, right? Like I get pest control, I pay for the service. I get electricity delivered to my home, I pay for the service. My sitter picks up the kids, I pay for the service. But what would you offer in exchange for that service, right? And someone doing something for you if money didn't exist? If money was not a thing, how would you pay for or acknowledge the energy exchange? And so what I have, and I've read sort of several books about this, and so this is where I'm pulling it from. You would express appreciation. Somebody did something for you. Somebody showed up for you. Somebody helped you in some way. You would express appreciation. There would be a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of you would take it in, right? You would take it into your system. And before there was money, maybe people traded things and felt appreciation for those exchanges. In fact, there are spiritual thinkers or thought leaders who talk about appreciation being our most natural state. Like when we're born, we don't offer anything in return for people taking care of us. So in our baby forms, we are in a state of appreciation, right? We get fed, we are satiated, we are right? We feel like, and of course, you don't remember your baby state, but you can imagine perhaps in this moment of what it might be like for a baby to be wrapped in a warm blanket after it's been feeling cold, or fed after it's felt hungry, or changed after its diaper was wet. There might be a feeling of appreciation, maybe obviously not putting a label on it, right? Because language is not developed, but a powerful, powerful sensation in the body of appreciation. And, as adults, part of the alchemy for me is about appreciating this human experience and appreciating every moment of the human experience, even though my ego may hate some of those human experiences. I can feel the soul part of me that is appreciative of these experiences, right? That appreciates the high sensation, that appreciates the alchemy, that appreciates the transformation, that appreciates having potable water come easily through my sink, and just appreciation for being alive. That really is the most natural state of existence and the most open you can be to receiving, right? Because you are receiving life. You are receiving all right, you're going to give me this. Thank you for giving me this shit situation that I'm now going to use to step into being my fullest self. So existing in that state of appreciation is one of the most powerful ways you can change your relationship to wealth. I'm not saying that this alone is going to, quote unquote, raise your vibration and all that, but it's a significant part of the process. And it's been I would say a life-changing part of the process for me. So here are the different types of wealth. And obviously, I'll just get the first one out of the way. It is monetary wealth. It is maybe your net worth. It is being resourced financially, right? I don't want to underestimate that. I think it is valuable. It does offer life experiences and opportunities, right, that you wouldn't have, especially the way that our world is constructed. Our money system is constructed. The second one is temporal wealth. That is time freedom, not just how much time you have, but the quality of time you have, right? You could be out of a job and have a ton of time, but that wouldn't necessarily mean that you have time freedom, because it is also what you do with that time, how you use that time, how you spend that time. The third, or how much control you have over your time. The third is energetic wealth. That has to do with feeling like you can steward your energy from a place of sufficiency and enoughness, you feeling satisfied, you setting up boundaries that protect you energetically, feeling like you have yourself, that you're not extracting from yourself, or that you don't feel extracted from, right? Feeling like you have yourself energetically. The next one is emotional wealth. Emotional wealth is the feeling, or feeling supported to feel it all, like you support yourself in feeling it all. You have a loving or radically approving relationship with your emotions. You really meet yourself emotionally. You allow yourself to feel. You don't sort of push your feelings down. You let them flow. You're open to your emotions, and you're open to other people's emotions. You feel emotionally met. You have people around you who see you and feel you. And then the next one is sort of piggybacking off of emotional wealth, and that's relational wealth. That is feeling seen, felt, and met, whether that's sexually, whether that's emotionally, whether that's, spiritually or intellectually, just having richness, like having relationship richness, being resourced relationally, having a support system, having people around you that get it and that love you unconditionally and that are delighted to be around you, that accept you. So that is a huge one that we often I don't know. I feel like in our culture, I say our culture as the dominant culture, and maybe I should change that. But yeah, in the dominant culture, I feel like there is a downplaying, or a devaluing is the word, a devaluing of the importance of relationships. And then the next aspect of wealth, or type of wealth, is health wealth. Feeling like you are mentally well and steady, that you are also physically well and steady, that you feel like your body supports you, your mental processes support you. And obviously, right, we go through anxious times and depression, and maybe you have like a chronic health condition or a chronic physical condition. So maybe you don't have as much health wealth as you would like, but you have something else that kind of balances it out, right? So we don't necessarily have all of these, but sometimes we do, which is really nice, right? The seventh is environmental wealth, and that is maybe living close to nature, close to the elements, having surroundings that are peaceful, that are safe, that you feel comfortable in, that you feel like, that are just good, that there isn't like crime in the area, or that you don't feel like if you leave the house, like you are in danger, or that you have access to green spaces where you can ground, right? You don't necessarily live in a very you may like living in an environment that is like busy and maybe like urban, but that you have access to, environments, whether it's a school environment or it's like your home, your actual home feels like a sanctuary to you. And it's also like having to do with environmental toxins as well, like not living it. When I talk about safe surroundings, I'm also talking about like, maybe not living next to a toxic waste dump or something like that. So that's also environmental wealth. And the last one is privilege wealth. Freedom from sexism, from racism, from ableism, homophobia, transphobia, classism. Yeah, so I feel like, off the times that I've worked with white people on these topics, there has been this like guilt that has been blocking them from really receiving their freedom around like their whiteness, that they can sort of like walk the world and have freedom. And I am light-skinned, I often read as white, and I experience a lot of appreciation for the fact that I don't deal with racism. And I also appreciate that I have a different view of the world as a person of color. And I also appreciate the extreme privilege that I have, like not being visible as maybe I would like to be, or like it's just the circumstances that I was given, and I appreciate them. I appreciate them, and I really, really let them in, because it's only when you let in the privilege that you can really do something with it, that you can leverage it. A lot of people don't fully ingest or digest their privilege to be able to then serve other people with it. And maybe people who have less privilege in this area. So your practice, I'm going to invite you into a practice of focusing where you have wealth. You may not have wealth, like I said, in all of the areas, but you may have in several, and really look around and appreciate what you have. What I often find is we don't let it in. We don't fully let it in. Like I was saying, we don't let it fully digest, really take it in and like celebrate it because of guilt, or because of how we learn to live outside of our bodies, or because our lives are so fast paced. We let things land for a second, we acknowledge them, and then we jump right into something else or move on to the next thing. So I want you to be in the practice of digestion, of, some people call it bragging, some people call it celebration. It feels maybe edgy to celebrate your privilege, but it's like, yes, like I don't have to deal with that shit. Oh my God, that's amazing. Look how privileged I am. And then like you can actually like do something with it. So being in the practice of digesting, of appreciating, of really seeing what you have helps you hold more energetically. And if you want to direct that holding more towards money, then so be it. If you want to hold more energetically in another area of wealth, so be it. It really is your decision on where you direct your focus and energy. So I want to shift into talking about another aspect of uncolonizing wealth, which is how we believe we own money. So we're going to get into a little bit of money anarchy and radical redistribution of wealth. So, and I find myself doing this too. We say things like, I say we, I say me, it's me. We say things like, this is my money, this is my money. Or we say, this is our money. We believe that money belongs to us. We think about keeping it within our family. And behind those phrases and those beliefs is the energy of possession, maybe even of hoarding, of definitely codependency and unhealthy attachment with money. So what I'm proposing here is that as long as you are relating to money in this way, you are not free. As long as you are relating to money in this way, money owns you. And more importantly, I think the energy of money is restricted from flowing in ways that it naturally desires to move. Right? Money wants to be in flow. Money wants to be in movement. It doesn't want to be like held back by possession, like, oh, this is mine, you can't have it. Or even this is mine and I want to protect it. So I approach my relationship with money much like I approach love, as a love anarchist or a relationship anarchist. They're similar, they're not the same. Listen to my episode on Love Anarchy, season 2, beginning of season 2. So I'm a love anarchist. And as I've shared on previous episodes of the podcast, a lot of what we call love is actually a negotiation of needs and a creation of contracts on a relationship escalator, right? Like, oh, you and I are now dating. So that means this and this and this. That means you don't do that and I don't do that. And we do this and we do that. So it's a creation of contracts on a relationship escalator that decreases the likelihood that we'll experience hurt, rejection, or abandonment. So like you're trying to like make sure that you don't feel those unpleasant things by creating contracts. And we then call that love. So what we understand as love in society has more to do with fear and insecurity than with actual love. So in the same ways that we get our needs met in love relationships, or we have expectations about how we're supposed to be cared for in relationships, and how we're invested in getting our belongingness and worthiness met in relationships, we kind of do the same with money. We talk about needing money. I need money. I need money. We have expectations about money, such as where it comes from, or like, yeah, where it should be coming from. We have judgments about that. And we have an attachment to a certain amount of money, or we have an attachment to what having and not having means about us, right? And one of the most profound lessons I learned in my explorations in polyamory and relationship anarchy was releasing those expectations and attachments, and instead allowing myself to love freely without the expectation of return, and without the expectation of return from a particular source, right? So if I gave love to a person, if I, made a gesture or expressed vulnerability, there was like some level of expectation of reciprocity and respect, but it wasn't like a hard gripping attachment of like, okay, well, now you're gonna return that to me, right? Like it wasn't quid pro quo. And by unlocking or unhooking rather, like I felt like it was really like a lifting out of hooks. And that was like, there was a lot of sensation involved with that. I'm not going to like sugarcoat it or make it sound easier than what it was. But by unhooking my attachment, I allowed myself to really find delight and surprise when love would come from unexpected sources. It was really like a miracle. Like I would have this interaction with one person that maybe, wasn't available in the moment, but then I would get like love blasted from my other friend. And then it would come from over here. And I just felt like, wow, like I felt like I was really like giving and receiving. And it was all sort of like, it was like this matrix of giving and receiving, this really beautiful web of that. And I was like, oh my God, this is real. Like, this is the energy of love. And, just because money has an energetic aspect, just in the same way love does, when I apply that same principle to money, like money also came to me from unexpected sources. In fact, like earlier this year, like I got a tax return, and like my dad sent me money randomly, and like it was just coming like from all of these different places. And every time it didn't matter if I got a check from some, insurance that had overcharged me and was like, oh, I'm returning these, $5 to you, I would be like, I would be fanning myself with that check and being like, woo, here we are. Like, I love this. Yes, yes, yes. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Like really appreciating all of the small amounts, the big amounts. And, as I tuned into the energy of money, because I was really relating to it as a being, maybe not like a flesh person, but as a being, when I really felt into the being of money, I could feel how much it desired to be in flow and in movement and to be creative. It wants to create. And just as love anarchy is about allowing love to flow freely in relationships without the gripping, that unhealthy attachment, without the expectation it has to be reciprocated, and really offering love from a place of abundance and genuine desire to give just because you fucking have it, that applied to money as well. Like those are the principles that I apply to money. And honestly, like, again, I'm not wanting to make it sound easier than what it actually is. Like embodying that is a whole practice, and giving money freely and generously without being afraid it's not going to come back to me, like that's going to be a challenge sometimes. And I have to really like get myself into alignment with that. Like, okay, like I'm going to be donating to this thing. Like, I'm just going to, like, before I actually press the button on like my Venmo thing, on the send button, I'm just really going to get into alignment with how abundant I have, how much I have, and that I can, like, I'm so full, and that I can give this without like, right, without feeling afraid that it's not going to come back to me. Like, I trust. Like that little ritual takes 30 seconds, maximum a minute, but it's part of the embodiment of getting into that space where you are trusting, you feel safe with the flow of money, right? And you're creating that safety within yourself. Sometimes I fall prey to the idea that money is a finite resource, right? Or that there's not enough. We don't have enough money. Like, we can't buy that. And then I correct myself and I was like, I actually don't want to buy that. I want to create different things with my money. I'm not excited about buying that. And there is enough to buy the things that we need. I just don't want to buy that. Like, that's the truth. It's not that I don't have enough. So again, shifting back into that trust is the practice. It is that internal alignment, right? Get your energy in line with the energy of abundance, of like, I trust, yes, this is real. I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to behave in alignment with those values. And right, in order to be able to give money freely and give it from a place of overflow, you have to be resourced in your worth, right? You have to, like, that sense of enoughness has to come from you, your own enoughness, and also like the regulation in your nervous system, like working with that, those moments of panic where you're no longer going to use this specific credit card, or you cut it up and you're like, oh, that was my backup plan. Oh shit. Hey, but it's like, no. I can take a deeper breath here, and I decide to trust, right? It's coming into alignment. A healthy relationship with the energy of money comes in the form of care, appreciation, and stewardship, right? Money doesn't belong to you, but the money that you have is in your care. And even what you buy with money doesn't belong to you. Let's go there. Land you purchase doesn't belong to you. Land belongs to her damn self. People put fences and signs around their land in attempts to possess it. But Native American folks, they wandered the land. They know that the land didn't belong to them. The land gave to them, and they were appreciative of what they received from the land, right? The energy of money also belongs to itself. So instead of you trying to confine money, or confining money by attempting to possess it or acquire it, what if your intention instead was to support, contribute, and celebrate its expansion, to celebrate its freedom, celebrate its movement, right? What I'm proposing here is sharing money and distributing or redistributing wealth, just like we are in a phase in our evolution where we are learning to share power in our leadership, right? We are sort of moving from this like hierarchical sort of paradigm to a more horizontal and circular leadership, right? We're shifting into those circular models where everybody has something to contribute, and what one person has to contribute isn't more than the other person. We are all learning from each other, right? This is like, there's equality, right? There's a reciprocal alchemy happening. And what this looks like in the three-dimensional world, right? I don't exactly know that, but what I do know is that we have to embody the energetics of it. There have been attempts like things like reparations or returning stolen land, for example, or even like, Kiva loans and things like that, which I love all of those things, but some of them have fallen short because the energy behind those attempts was not fully embodied or in alignment. And that's why for me, the inner work always informs the outer work. And of course, like circumstances in our lives transform how we, right, transform our being, ourselves. But I feel like when we're creating something, when we are in the process of like maybe restructuring the money system, right? This is how I believe that we will restructure the money system, is by doing the inner work. So I'm going to end here. I feel like, I believe this. I believe this with my whole heart. And I'm excited about this. And I'm excited to work with people who are really wanting to do that work. So yeah, this is the last of the 3 classes, and I'm sending you off with like just a big appreciation. I really feel so much appreciation for you listening and tuning in and listening till the end. That just means so, so much to me. All right. Thank you. And I love you.